Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, over on our own subreddit, people have been suggesting different stories that might be fun to read, don't necessarily have updates, etc., but they're a bit out there. So we're starting off with the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Clowning Around 155, who says, Am I the arsehole for inviting a clown to my wedding and putting him in the pictures? Throwaway account because obvious reasons. I, 29 female, married my hubby, 31 male, a few months ago. Neither of us were particularly interested in spending a boatload of money on a wedding no one would actually enjoy, so we were casual. The wedding was in the party room of a pizza place we love. It's in a recently renovated 19th century factory, so it's cool looking, and decided to let our friends and family bring their small army of children, because pizza. To entertain the kids, we decided to have a few carnival-themed games and snacks available, and we hired a clown, male 23, to do balloon animals. I know this clown. He's a friend of my cousin's who has good clown credentials. He was great with the kids. We had the bright idea to invite the clown to be in some of our wedding photos as well. Anyhow, I noticed mother-in-law, female 60s, has been kind of distant since the wedding, but I didn't realize she was pissed at us until she came to dinner last night. We got the wedding photos and picked our favorite, which is the two of us looking at each other dramatically with the clown standing next to us holding a big fake squeaky hammer like he was about to bonk my husband's head. We got it framed and put it up in the house. When my mother-in-law saw the photo, she lost it. She blamed me for embarrassing her and continuing to rub it in her face with the clown photos, and that I should have put my foot down and made sure her son had a classy wedding and not the clown show you put on. My husband told his mum to leave, but I'm honestly kind of shaken. The feedback from other family and friends has been positive, and I've had a good relationship with my mother-in-law thus far. So this was a surprise. I know a lot of people say that the wedding is for the family, not the couple, which is completely I took seriously until now. And I'm wondering if I should have considered my mother-in-law's feelings more when putting together the party. So am I the arsehole for my clown show wedding? When Opie said clown credentials, that made me chuckle. But for me in this one, I think it's your wedding, you do exactly what you want. The only thing that where I thought the story was going to go initially, is that people with their fear of clowns, etc. But you know your people, you know what you wanted for your wedding, and it sounds like you had a good time and everyone else apart from mother-in-law did. So, that's basically on her. Sounds like a good time to me. Not so long back, I went to an awesome wedding that was really decked out for children as well. It had like a little sweet store with like pick and mix sweets so you can get your own. I had a magician wandering around, all sorts of entertainment that was going on as well as the day. They had a great time. I had a great time. And I think the majority of the people did. And, it was just about their day and bringing their family together. And that's what it was about. I'm not sure what mother-in-law's issue is, but Coastal Kid says not the arsehole. A wedding is ultimately a celebration, and how you choose to celebrate it is really up to the couple. If you want a carnival for a wedding, then go nuts. Now, that being said, clowns are a divisive form of entertainment. They can make a lot of people uncomfortable, and their style of entertainment can be invasive. I think you and hubby just need to let the situation cool down a bit and then have a conversation about how this was what you, collectively, wanted for your day. She's entitled to have not liked it, but it was special and fun for you two. Opie says thank you, and understandable. Apart from the photos of the three of us, we did have him stealth to the side with the kids and who wanted to hang with him. So it wasn't like he was cutting the cake with us. But I also have a lot of true crime documentaries, so I can understand people's mixed feelings. Professor Yaffle says not the arsehole, it was your wedding. As long as you and your spouse were happy, then all is good. Regarding your mother-in-law, I'm confused as to why she would be embarrassed. If you had photos of her with the clown and she was uncomfortable with that, then it would be kindness to not have those photos on display. You have more traditional photos that show you and your husband without the clown, and photos of you with mother-in-law / other family without the clown. If so, then it might be nice to get some of those printed off for her and send to her so she can share them on her social media if relevant. But unless the clown is in every picture, then even taking into account the idea that the wedding is for families as well, as the couple, her reaction seems a bit odd. Opie says thank you. The only pictures the clown was in were just with me and my husband, and we have plenty of photos just the two of us. The family photos are all clown free. We've shared those with her and on our social media, but admittedly, the clown photos are our favorites and what we've featured on our own pages for the most part. A lot of our friends have reacted to those. Those reactions have been positive to our faces, but maybe they're talking crap elsewhere. Someone asked about his clowning credentials. Opie says he's taken a lot of classes at various clown schools. He's an expert in several clowning styles. Honestly, I can't remember the exact vocabulary, but it's very impressive sounding. So he's a well-trained clown. It's amazing the different worlds that you learn about whilst on Reddit. I absolutely love that. It reminds me of I can't remember what TV program it was on, but the Father Christmas School, where you go to learn to be like the best Father Christmas you can be. But anyway, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What about you? Did you have a different kind of wedding? Was anyone offended by it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. This one came from the entitled People subreddit from UK840, who says, double wedding disaster. Friends ruined their wedding, but not ours. I, 38 male, have been married to Mike, 35 male, for 3 years. Together for 12 years. We're very quiet, nerdy, nature-loving guys, not into flashy displays or drama at all. It was the tail end of the pandemic, and since the borders were partially open, we decided to road trip to Gibraltar and elope. The pandemic was a great excuse not to invite anyone to our wedding and just do what we wanted. When we told our lesbian friends, Di, 45 female, and Anne, 60 female, what we were doing, they decided on the spot that we were going to have a double wedding and immediately started taking over, suggesting a bunch of trashy, expensive things we didn't want. This is the story of how they attempted to ruin our wedding and only ruined theirs. 1. We initially decided that we'd get a rental car together and split it 4 ways, with Mike and Di splitting the driving. A month before the wedding, Di and Anne decided it'd be cheaper to take the train. Well, 6 trains actually, across 3 countries. I immediately said no, and it turned out Di didn't even have a driver's license and had been driving illegally for years. Mike offered to do all the driving if they split the rental car with us. They declined because it was too expensive and took the train instead. Obviously, it went terribly for them. Trains were cancelled, tickets were lost, and they missed out on an entire night in Gibraltar because they were stuck at a random train station in the Spanish countryside. Mike and I had a wonderful road trip and spent a magical night in an Airbnb in Cartagena on the way. Their train ticket cost more than half of the rental car. 2. We initially agreed to get a really fancy Airbnb in Gibraltar with a hot tub and all that stuff. Split 4 ways, we could get something really nice. Well, Anne decided she wanted a real hotel and pulled out the Airbnb plan. I found a gorgeous little 1-bedroom place for us with a hot tub and a view of the sea. Di and Anne forgot to book a real hotel and ended up in a freaking awful place by the port. Like a place for merchant sailors to crash while they're in the port. It was on a busy roundabout opposite Burger King. There was no bath, no balcony, and it was basic as fuck. It was more expensive than our lovely place. They got no sleep because of the drunk sailors and traffic noise. They didn't even get any towels provided. 3. The night before the wedding, we met for dinner. They'd barely been in Gibraltar for 2 hours, whereas we'd been relaxing since the day before. At dinner, things were tense, but Di was really trying. At some point, she signaled to the restaurant host, and the lady came over with a super fancy VIP bucket with champagne on ice. She popped the cork and gave it to Di, who handed it to Anne, saying, "Just like the one I gave you in New York, baby." It was clearly supposed to be a romantic moment. Anne refused the cork, and we all smiled nervously to try and smooth things over. The host poured 2 glasses of champagne and gave the glasses to Di and Anne. Anne took a sip and immediately spat it out, announcing loudly, "It's corked." We all tried the champagne and told her it was delicious. Mike and I don't really drink, but we know what champagne tastes like. Anne insisted the champagne was corked and loudly announced they wouldn't be paying for it. The host was pissed, and I understood why when she told us it was a £750 bottle. She threatened to call the police, so Di sheepishly paid for it. Anne sulked the rest of the night. I was so embarrassed and our whole evening was spoiled. When we got back to our Airbnb to take a bubble bath and eat Jaffa cakes, like that, I told Mike there was no way I was going to allow them to ruin another minute of our trip. But if they wanted to ruin theirs, that wasn't my problem. 4. The actual weddings went off okay, apart from the fact that they were still drunk from the night before. The registry office was nice and I married the man of my dreams. Afterwards, we bought them brunch to soak up the booze and faithfully walked them around the park, taking lovely photos of them. I had a finger over the lens of every picture she took of us. When we were done, they were suggesting we all go to the pub and get wasted. As if. We dropped them off at the pub and went our separate ways. I was honest and just told them I want to be alone with my husband. They couldn't really argue with that. 5. The wedding dinner. Mike, Di and I all had fairly casual preferences for a restaurant for the wedding dinner, but Anne insisted on a fine dining fish restaurant that didn't even serve dessert. Oof. That's a no from me, gee whiz. I outright refused. Absolutely, I don't eat fish at all, and Anne was insisting on the fish restaurant. So we decided not to meet up. Anne also tried to convince us to chip in £200 for a custom wedding cake to get delivered to the restaurant, but we said hell no. Mike and I went to the best steakhouse in Gibraltar, had a 1.2 kilo steak and had amazing cheesecake for dessert. We had a lovely time and the waitstaff went out of their way to spoil us. Around 8 PM they messaged us, "Where are you?" and we ignored the message. As it turned out, Anne forgot to make reservations and the fish restaurant was fully booked. But they couldn't leave and go somewhere else because they had to wait for the cake to be delivered. They ended up taking the cake back to their shitty hotel and eating it with their credit cards because they didn't even have cutlery and plates in their room. They got hammered that night on supermarket vodka. Mike and I had the perfect evening. We got a taxi home, smoked weed on a balcony, and watched the stars, and kissed for hours. The next day, Mike and I set out for a day of hiking in the UNESCO World Heritage Site National Park. It was the best day ever. Mike got robbed and bitten by a monkey, which was fucking hilarious. We ate a full English breakfast in the Sky restaurant and explored St. Michael's Cave. Unforgettable memories were made. Di and Anne fought, decided it was Gibraltar's fault, and spontaneously decided to leave. They booked a beach resort up the coast somewhere in Spain and headed on foot to the train station. The trains were all messed up. They got stranded somewhere in Spain with all their luggage and it took them 14 hours to get to the resort. They arrived at 11 PM and were checking out the next morning. 7. Mike and I spent a few more nights enjoying our honeymoon and then road tripped home. We stayed in the same little place in Cartagena on the way back and host threw us a little surprise party. It was magical. Di and Anne got stranded again on the way home, lost half their luggage and caught COVID. So someone was asking about the monkey incident and Mike getting robbed by a monkey saying, "So I told Mike all day, don't get so close to the fucking monkeys," but he had to push his luck. He had his backpack on the front like they tell you to, but the monkey was smarter than that. As Mike was edging closer to the monkey for a picture, a big male monkey jumped on his shoulder, unzipped his backpack and started ripping things out and throwing them everywhere. Mike decided he didn't want his passport thrown away and attempted to grab it from the monkey. Monkey retaliated by biting his thumb. Thankfully, the sound of Mike screaming scared the monkey bastard away. But I'm really curious to know if Di and Anne are still together to this day. They sound absolutely exhausting. But I'm still glad that you had a wonderful time whilst all that was going on. That scene you painted where they was like on the port staying in this place with no cutlery, no towels, no nothing, opposite a Burger King. I mean, I like Burger King, but holy moly, it painted a depressing scene, I gotta say. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's have another story. Now, you know, next story is going to be like childhood humor. It's involving farts. So if you want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. This one's from Borg Nanites, who says, "Am I the arsehole here for not taking the fall when my wife farted?" Me, 38 male, and wife, 36 female, were out at a dinner party with a large group of friends. Everything was going well and we're having a great time until my wife farted really loud. I was sitting next to her at the time and pretended nothing happened and quickly started talking in order to change the topic and direction of people's thoughts. It was too late though. One of the idiots at the dinner started laughing, and of course my wife got very embarrassed. She tried to act dumb and said, "What are you laughing at?" The other guy said to her, "Nothing wrong with letting one go." Edit, he didn't have the intention of comforting her. I promptly told him off and he apologized for that comment. My wife said, "I didn't let anything go. It was Jack. Name has been changed. That farted." I kind of froze and hesitated at that moment, and everyone knew it was her after that. If I took the blame, they would probably have believed me. It didn't help that the fart smelled really bad. She was different the rest of the night and just wanted to go home after this. After about 2 hours, we left. On the way home, she expressed her disappointment and anger towards me for not taking the fall for her. She said, "You should have said it was you." In hindsight, I probably should have, but it's hard to think quick on your feet when under pressure. I thought I did pretty well by trying to talk about something else. Anyway, she was in tears and extremely embarrassed. She's upset at me for not taking the blame. What do you guys think? Edit. I really need to highlight that the sound was loud and the smell was horrible. It was this combination that made it extra embarrassing. It wasn't a silent fart that smelled bad or a loud fart that didn't smell. Imagine smelling a dead animal coming out of a bumhole with the sound of a fire brigade. That's what happened. Edit. I agree that I shouldn't have told the guy off. It all happened so quick. It was an instant reaction to her being laughed at. He said it to make fun of her. It wasn't in a way to comfort. I didn't go aggro on him or swear at him, by the way. More like shut him down. But true, I should have slowed down and think before reacting. And I know I would be an arsehole in this situation because I would have found myself chuckling and, I've often found myself at times when someone's let one slip, I go, "Ooh, cheeky," or the standard, "better out than in." But you're not the arsehole in this situation. She literally tried to blame it on you. So if anyone's going to be the arsehole, it's going to be her when you tried to savor the embarrassment in that moment. But Diamond says, "Lol, this is hilarious. I don't know how she's calling you an arsehole. She literally tried to throw you under the bus. Like, I know you don't care, but you're her husband and she was trying to make you feel embarrassed and crappy. Not the arsehole." Opie says, "My inner clown was tempted to say, 'smell you later' when leaving the dinner, but I resisted." All of the fancy pants says, "Everyone at that party just needs to realize that farts are funny. Always have been, always will be. Yes, it's a bit embarrassing to let one rip in a large group of people, especially if it's smelly. Laugh at yourself, keep moving. Actually, moving will probably help a lot if it's smelly. Moving to an open window. And crop dusting everyone else. Literally everyone farts. Sure, we do our best to hold them in until we're in a private, well-ventilated space. But sometimes they sneak up on you. Better just let go and embrace the humor than get snarky about it. You are not the arsehole. Your wife is a little, but noisy arsehole. And your friend that tried to make her feel bad is the smelly arsehole." Another commenter says, "She shouldn't feel bad though. I recently had something happen that I would normally have been mortified about. I work in a smallish 7-story building. I was taking the elevator up and someone stepped on. It was a man about 20 years my senior, but he smelled incredible. I have a husband and 2 sons and I wanted them to wear whatever cologne he was wearing. I asked him what cologne he was wearing and he told me. I thanked him just before we arrived at my floor. As the doors opened, I turned to wish him a good day and and accidentally let out a huge loud fart. I was incredibly embarrassed. I had a bit of a giggle over it, but it helped me realize that my GI system isn't normal. I'm following a low FODMAP diet now and haven't had those sort of issues since." That commenter just gave me the image of just letting one rip and just watching the doors close as they're facing each other. And one more comment from Herdy Nerdy who says, "Your first instinct was to cover for her by quickly carrying on with the conversation. Your next instinct was to defend her honor, even though it was quite apparent to everyone that she was the guilty party. For her to then expect you to pivot on the spot and be dishonest is ridiculous. I'm confident her face revealed her guilt. Although who cares? Everyone farts. Hell, when I was in the military, we often claimed the worst farts as our own, as a rotten badge of honor. Didn't matter if we dealt it. I say it is to your credit that being dishonest didn't cross your mind, and that you tried to make it a non-issue among the group, and then defended her honor were your instinctive reactions. But your wife is embarrassed and needs someone to blame. She made it bad trying to deny it and then realizing everyone knew it was her anyway. She made it worse trying to then blame you. Your wife is the arsehole and she's in denial about it. Verdict, not the arsehole. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, I hope you enjoyed something a little bit different today. I just see these little stories every once in a while that we don't pick up onto with the stories because they didn't have updates, so we miss on some gems every once in a while. So I think it's nice to go back and pick them up when we can. I certainly enjoyed them. I hope you did too. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. Always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.